Hello all, Ernesto here, bringing you a knife review. And today we are, let me get some of this, whatever's on there, off there. Today we're looking at the CKF Fif 20 in M390. This is a bit of a fancier version with Zircuti bolsters, clip, and this textured wave carbon fiber, which is quite nice. This is, and the underlying structure is a bronzed titanium. There weren't a ton of these done, and this was one of the more expensive variants. I know there was recently a pre-order done for the larger version of the Fif knife. So they should be, more of these should be coming out soon, though I don't think any of them quite look like this. At least not the pre-order versions. What do we got here? We got a drop point in the M390. Done by CKF and collab with Philippe. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his last name. Jurget? Who knows? Maybe. As you can see, this is a front flipper that is drop shut, and it's a liner lock. Not the biggest of knives, but not tiny either. It's very gentlemanly. In my opinion. I like it. That's all that matters, right? It's my knife. Let's get some quick specs. Move on into the review. You got about a 3 3/8 of an inch on the blade. You got just under 8 inches overall. It's a bit bigger than 7 7/8, but a little bit under 8. So none of these are exactly coming out precisely 4 5/8 ish. Ish. That's the key term here. It's not quite, but close. Make a comparison to our small knife, the Civivi Elementum, and the full-size knife, the Civivi Conspirator. Both cheaper knives, considerably. This is definitely a premium knife, and an expensive version of a premium knife. And it's pretty darn close, but it is definitely shorter than the Conspirator. The handle's tiny bit shorter, blade tiny bit shorter, so yeah. It's pretty close to being a full-size knife, but it's kind of a medium size. Oh, making noise over there. Let's just do a quick comparison to the batteries, as always. For the grip, you pretty much have 2 AA batteries in length, which is more than enough. I can get more than a good grip on this thing. Allows you to really kind of move around a little bit. It's very nice like that. Very nice. Kind of it, in fact. Thickness. These are not contoured, but they are milled and chamfered and stuff like that. 563 thousandths. It is a little bit thick. It's a chunkier knife, even though, weirdly enough, out of all the knives, this doesn't look the chunkiest to me. To my eyes. Like, there have been a few recently that I've looked at and I said, oh, that's going to be thick, and it wasn't quite as thick as I thought. This is one that's kind of does the opposite. Don't know why. 140 thousandths on the blade stock, and behind the edge has a tiny ass edge bevel. It's definitely thin behind the edge, but I don't know what the degrees per side are. I mean, behind the edge on this one, because it's so dang tiny, is like 12 thousandths, maybe even less. Honestly, it's getting to the point where it's hard to tell if I'm getting it right or not because it's so dang close in there. Hold on. Yeah, so like somewhere between, I'm going to say 10 to 12 thousandths. It's super duper slicey and it's super duper thin. But the bevel is, or the actual edge grind is, I don't know what the degrees per side it is. Hopefully it's like, I mean, it does feel super thin, so hopefully it's like 20 degrees per side, but if it's 25, that's not exactly my favorite thing in the world, but it is what it is. I don't carry or use this knife that often. So 4.26 ounces. Not heavy, not an ounce an inch, but not terribly heavy. I mean, you've got slightly. Can we get in there? Let's see if I turn on a different light. And there we go. Can we get in there? Yeah, you can see some milling in there. But it's super shallow because the titanium's so thin. Plus, the outside scale is just carbon fiber. I feel like I'm forgetting a... Oh, I am forgetting a... That's because that's in the wrong spot. Hardware check. T8. T8 pivot. Everything else is T6, unfortunately. I'm not a fan of T6, but I have actually had this knife apart once, and it went back together perfectly fine. It is centered, pretty much dead on, and there is no play. So let's just take a quick talk about this knife. On the blade is beautiful. The blade is a hand satin. CKF logo, Philippe logo over on the other side. And honestly, because of where they put it, it looks super sterile. It's clean, it's beautiful. Wonderful drop point shape. You can get to the tip, but you do have to go a little bit higher than on some drop points because there's a lot, almost all the belly's up front, right? And it doesn't protrude that far. The tip is also a little bit above the pivot. That can tend to affect those things. Your plunge grind is not good. The plunge grind, honestly, I mean, you can kind of see it. It kind of comes to like right there. Yes, that is giving you... This is pretty much all life, fortunately. You basically have life up to about there without having to worry about anything. Yeah. Give or take. Which is a decent amount of life. You're going to get some life out of this thing, but it's not the longest life ever, and unfortunately the stop pin is right behind the edge. That's the edge, and that's where the stop pin is, and it hits right there. You can actually see the marks. So you can't really cut in a sharpening drawer, you can't really do any of that. I suppose you could extend this, but it's going to be really hard. Giant pain in the ass. Basically, your lifespan is where that sharpening thing hits. So once you get up that far, which is a decent number of sharpenings, don't misunderstand me, that's it. That's what you got. I don't like stop pins being there in general. I don't know why it had to be there, personally. If they had just moved this back a little bit and cut in a little bit of an indent there, so it hit and shouldered a little bit around it, they could have easily moved that stop pin back up to back there, in that little gully between the M390 and the actual stop pin, and it wouldn't have been any problem whatsoever, and it would not have been hard to do. I can't see any reason why it wasn't done, but it wasn't. So... is what it is. It's quite sharp, too. Very sharp. The handle, though angular and slightly blocky, is pretty darn comfortable. Yes, it's not like hand-melting comfortable because you do feel some of those angles. And the pocket clip doesn't completely disappear. It's a slightly smaller handle in general. So, you do feel it. But there's nothing uncomfortable here, right? Even like this, pushing, there's nothing uncomfortable. It's just a little bit angular. Beautiful Zircuti. As CKF usually does, their Zircuti work is usually pretty on point, and this one is quite interesting. It almost has more color in it, like a Damascus, but it's definitely Zircuti. Lots of oranges and stuff. I like it. Lock bar access is phenomenal, actually. Not only does it sit out, because you have this cutout, but it's bowled out here. and super easy to access from the side. And one thing that is done really well is where the knife comes down to hit. Your finger starts stopping it. It doesn't have like a little nub that I like to see on these things when they don't have flipper tabs, but your finger sort of starts touching and stopping the actual tang, so it sort of slows down as that tip comes to your finger, and then it's a drop from there. Very nice. Pocket clip is actually one of the best Zircuti pocket clips I think I've ever had. Sometimes Zircuti pocket clips, especially, and zirconium pocket clips especially, but sometimes Zircuti pocket clips get very tight. This actually has a decent amount of spring to it. It's secure, but it's really nice. This is really good. It's not deep carry. It's, you know, there, but it's medium, and it's really nice. Nice little bit of chamfering and detail on the, even though I have a little bit of something there. Let's see if I can get that out. What else do I want to say about this? This is the thing. This is just a super well executed knife. Is it too expensive? Yes. These were too expensive. I think CKF knives in general are pretty expensive. I partially understand their pricing and partially don't. You could say that because it is made in China, it should be cheaper, but at the same time, I do understand it goes to their factory, and I don't know if they still have a factory in Russia, but I'm pretty sure they have a factory in Czechoslovakia at this point, or Czech Republic, or whatever it's calling itself nowadays. Or Slovakia, or, yeah, whatever it's calling itself nowadays. But, and then they do a lot of final finishing work. Hand finishing, assembly, finishing some of the angles and stuff like that. And dialing it in, and washes and different kinds of, lots of finishing work done to it. So that definitely increases the price. I do get it. I do think that they are still a little bit high, but I admit, I have a weakness for CKF. I have quite a few of their knives. Yeah, it's just sitting right off there is one of them. What is that in there? Yes, that one. Yeah. They make some really good knives. I do think that their quality on the last couple knives they've released has been a little hit or miss. I've heard some things about the Eagle Rock that weren't great. My Eagle Rock was wonderful. I actually sold that knife. My Eagle Rock was wonderful. And perfect. But I heard some people had some issues with action and lockup. It's just things I've heard. I can't confirm or deny any of it. All I know is I think the last knife I got from them was pretty good, but it was a little bit off. It needed some adjustment. I don't know if that's just... That could just be anything. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. That happens with any production knife. I just don't expect it as much from them, especially considering what they've done in the past. I just unboxed the knife from them. I don't think I put the unboxing up yet. Or it'll probably be up when this goes live. So yeah, the unboxing will be up of the snafu that I got. And I was a little disappointed. It had a few little things. You'll see. I was pretty gentle on it in the unboxing, but I'm not super happy with some of the finishing work on that thing. Which is actually why I'm getting it a replacement. But overall, most of the time, I love the CKF's work. I love their designs. And I don't love their prices. That's pretty much how this goes. Then again, do we like anybody's prices nowadays? The answer is no to that. No. No. But this was like a $700, $800 knife, something like that. which is a bit much, yeah. The plain titanium were closer to like $450, but the fancy versions were a bit up there. The plain titanium version, honestly, for being just a frame lock, which it was, even though it had an inlay, well, some of them did, that $400 to $450 was, about $50 too high, even for a collab. But they're popular for a reason, and they're almost always well made, and they have some good designs, and they work with a lot of interesting designers. So you do what you do. If you like it enough, you're gonna buy it, and they tend to sell out pretty decently, most of their stuff, especially certain models. This one sold out pretty good. I'm looking at it. Oh, I got it. I'll be honest with you, I was getting distracted by the screws in there. I forgot that these are held in, these overlays, or inlays, I guess, whatever you want to call them, are held in from the inside there, too. I totally forgot about that. Lock bar insert, no lock stick. Yeah, this is just a great knife. Beautiful knife, beautiful, elegant piece. But you can't really get them. Also, great jimping. Oh, this is like the wire EDM jimping where it's super, super grippy and it's not too aggressive. Yeah, they definitely know what they're doing there. Though I do wish it kind of came up and over round, but it works well enough. You've seen me do all the little stuff that you don't really, it doesn't matter. It's great. And that's what this is. This is a great but expensive knife. That just keeps getting a smudge right there on the zircuti. Get off! I must have had a little bit of oil on something. That is one of the problems. Oh, there we go. We're back. Can you reverse flick this knife? Kind of. Not great. Most of the knife is in there. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, you can. At least I can. Despite it having a actually pretty solid detent for a front flipper, right? Like, that's pretty good. Yeah, I didn't get in the new pre-order on these things, but I love the one I have. And that's all I have to say about it, really. Hopefully, anybody who wants one can get a chance when the larger ones come out. And I'm sure they're going to do some funny versions with them. They like doing their fun versions of their knives. The crazy, almost full-dress knives, and then the full-dress versions, and then the crazy expensive, whatever the heck, and then aftermarket, completely customized or engraved or something. They do all kinds of things. It's one of the reasons I do like the company. But it costs you. Yes. So, I think we're done here. That was the review of the CKF Fif 20. Fif 20, yes. I get confused. There's Fif 20, Fif 23, probably others. I don't know. This is kind of just an off-the-cuff one. I literally just pulled this thing out randomly. I had no thought put into this, no research. This has been in my collection for quite a while and in my box, and I keep forgetting to do it as the... Yep, sounded... I just kept passing over it somehow. So I want to get it out of the way. So that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.